MooreMotivation, take one.
More motivation gear.
Good morning. Good morning. We are here once again with the More Motivation podcast. Super excited for this particular Monday because we all in the same building.
That's right.
We all in the same building. So this is a very special podcast. I am the co-host, Troy Christopher Moore. We're here with the founder and the
Yes.
president, Mr. Kendrick Moore. Good morning, Kendrick. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm excited. As you mentioned, like this is probably the first time we've getting a chance to actually have the opportunity to record together. And this is what we're over 100 episodes now.
Over
And
100.
just think about this. So
Over
we
100.
we are in town together sometime with you guys, crew tees in Cali, a majority of the year, you and Charlotte. But we are finally here to kind of put
Yes.
this thing together.
Yes.
You know, it took us 100+ episodes, but we're here to get this done.
We're here to get it together. So we're super excited. And before we get into this week's podcast, we like to do a shout out as we've been doing over the several weeks. So, Kendra, what's the shout out for this particular week?
Yeah, so, you know, being a part of the CIAC, CAS CIAC, which is kind of like the governing body for our high school sports here in Connecticut. You know, you and I played sports. Heck, even Kruti played volleyball for a little while, so we got to give her a shout out. You know, under that umbrella. And this past weekend was the basketball championship. So when we talk about March Madness, our high school basketball championships just concluded. So we concluded with 5 boys champions and 5 girls champions.
Wow.
So shout out to all of them. It'll be something that they'll be able to remember forever. I can remember back in the day, long time ago, winning championships. And it's one of the most special moments that I can ever remember. So shout out to all of the athletes that participated, and a big shout out to the champions.
Wow. Wow. That's exciting.
Yes, yes.
Very, very exciting. Something I don't know nothing about because we ain't never went to a championship.
You ain't the Charles Barkley, are you?
Call me Charles Barkley. Call me Patrick Ewing. Call me Dominique. Never done none of that. But to all of the high school champions, shout out to y'all
Right.
as he indicated. So before we get into this podcast for this particular week,
Yep.
we want to touch base a little bit about last week's podcast. We had some tremendous feedback regarding the podcast about tomorrow.
For sure.
So just touch base and just share some of the feedback and the information that you received.
Yeah, I think it really caused people, even though it was called tomorrow, it caused people to really be locked in on today.
Right.
We talk about how important moments are.
Right.
And that podcast, when we talked about what if you had to earn tomorrow,
Yeah.
everything about you today would change. And I used it, you know, when we come up with the topics, I love being able to use it throughout the week when I'm talking to different groups, teachers, staff members, kids, etc., and really putting these concepts in play, like put them in motion, like challenge these kids and these people that I'm around with these various topics. So, and it just really gets you to think your perspective of today, how important this moment is right now. So I think it gave people that lens to look at it that way. It was, again, another very powerful podcast, and we appreciate the feedback.
Awesome. Awesome. So listeners, check it out. We about to take it up a notch because we have to take it up a notch.
Right.
We cannot stay mediocre. So what's the podcast and the content that you have for us today?
Yeah, so today's content, and it's, again, like I said, sometimes I'm in the moment doing certain things that I'm not even aware of, that I'm actually thinking of these types of topics. But the overlying theme is like, be careful what you ask for.
Wow. Now I can honestly say that, you know, sometimes me personally, I just ask for things without even thinking about a consequence of it.
That's
so
right.
Talk to
That's
us
right.
about, you know, this particular topic. Let's get at it.
Yeah, so and as I mentioned, like these topics, they come up organically. And I think I mentioned it in one of the other podcasts, Troy, how sometimes if you don't train your thinking, you might hear something a week ago that, you know, if something triggers you, it might bring that thought up. And that might be the reason why I think of certain topics. But honestly, I'm driving from the gym, and the words that came to my mind was replacement players. I don't know
Mm.
why I thought about that, but I was
Wow.
thinking about replacement players. You know, when teams go on strikes, they have the
Mm-hmm.
replacement players.
Yep.
And I'm sure those players start to think like, man, like I'm just as good. Like why aren't I the one chosen for this?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I the replacement? Why don't people see me as good? Why don't people give me the opportunities? And then I started thinking like, man, you know what? A lot of times when you go on job interviews, when you're asked to do certain tasks, when you get chosen for sports, it's not solely based on talent. Like I'm a
Mm.
firm believer of that. Like when you get chosen for something, I think the people think it's based solely on talent.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's why the biggest disappointments happens if they don't get the thing that they want.
Right.
I think a lot of times people judge based on if you are resilient enough to deal with what comes with the work.
Oh, without question.
You know, that, and I don't think people give that enough
Without question.
perspective. Like, are you able to deal with what comes with the territory? So that's I don't know how they connect it, but that's where I want to go with this one today.
Wow. That is so in the moment. As I was having a conversation at work and someone asked me, man, Troy, you got 21 people that report to you.
Right, right.
How do you handle that? Like how do you work with all of those personalities?
Right.
Because there's obviously people more skillful,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
more educated,
Right.
but they chose someone that could handle that. So right on target with that. So
Yep, for sure.
talk to us even more about that because I'm really
Yeah.
eager to hear some more about
And one of the other thoughts is that came to my mind, and it's like when people see, I've been fortunate, Troy, very blessed to be around good people that push me and help me accomplish some really good things.
that. Mm-hmm.
Even, from my younger days, how you guys cared for me, making sure I was in really good positions, trying to get me to do the right things, accomplishing things academically and sports, more, coach individual, like traveling. So when people see me a lot of times, that, man, I want to be like you.
Mm.
Like I want to
Wow.
be like you, because a lot of times they see the surface.
Right.
Like I want to be like you.
Right. Right.
And in my heart, Troy, and I'll be like, oh man, no, man, you got it. I tell them something like that. But in my heart of hearts, Troy, I'll be thinking like, you can't handle what I went through.
Right.
Like
Right.
you can't handle the things I've been through.
Right.
Like
Correct.
the life I live outside of what you see, because I'm not the poster boy for social media.
Right.
You don't see this ain't the end result. I'm not the end result guy.
Right.
Like you cannot handle the things that I've been through.
Right.
And I just think it's something very, very important to understand with people is to be, when I say be careful what you ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Because to walk in these shoes, these 13s, you would have had to go through a lot.
Mm. Wow.
We had a conversation even last week, about us walking to school, mama trusting us to make sure we were okay because everything she had to handle at home
Right.
since age 7.
Right. Right.
She took us to a place, and it was up to us now from 7 years old on to make sure we do the thing that she respected and honored us to do.
Correct.
Like a lot of people can't even handle that journey from from our house to school.
Right.
Let alone, Troy, handling what was in the house. So that's why you got to really be careful what you ask for. And again, it's just perspective, because we all do it.
Right.
We all ask for certain things.
Right.
But I think there's a real methodology with why people get and why people don't get the things that they ask for.
Wow. Man, that was a lot, man. And even seeing all of that big picture as you were speaking,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, wow. It just made my memory just
Yep,
go
yep,
back to
yep,
like,
for sure.
oh my goodness. So now, why do you think that this is the way it is, where people don't, get put in places because of their talent?
Right.
That's usually what you're told. Work hard and you'll get what you want. but that kind of contradicts itself. So talk to us about that.
And it does, because in life people just usually talk about the work. You work hard enough and you'll get what you want.
Yeah.
I am true to, with everything we do, more motivation, we always infuse adversity. Like, I'm intentional about that.
Yeah.
Infusing the challenges, the complicating parts. But as you say, like, man, why is it like that? Like, because I also believe that life is designed for a reason. As much as life is put in place, the things are put in place, the obstacles are put in place to challenge you, the things in life are also put in place to protect you. But while we're going through it, and when we're not getting to what we want, we get disappointed because we didn't achieve certain things. Remember at the beginning, Troy, we said, in terms of, can you handle the thing when you get there? What Biggie say? More money, more problems.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of strain and stress that comes along with being more successful. So when I say life is put in place to also protect you, it almost keeps certain people away from certain levels of success, because life knows you can't deal with it.
Without question. Without question.
Life knows that if we hand you this Powerball, it's going to break you. You're going to make some very bad decisions.
Right. Yeah.
Life knows that you're not you smart enough to be the CEO, but you're not disciplined enough. And once you get that job, as that type of leader, you might abuse it.
Yeah.
And instead of we said everybody's on the bus, but the right people in the right seats, how important that is. They put you at the top level when you're supposed to be somebody supporting. There's a reason why there are assistant coaches that don't want to leave the head coach. They know they're better as the assistant coach. As soon as they get a head coaching job, they can't manage everybody, like you just said. Next thing you know, they're fired.
Right. Yeah.
They're fired. You're not ready to handle that. And it's not because of, okay, I don't want to take the opportunity. Life might not be putting you in that position. Life has a funny way of putting people in certain positions. And those people, it's funny. Sometimes you think, man, they're not good enough for that job. And they go dominate it. Right. I don't know why they give them the job. I know I'm better at it and they go kill it.
Right.
So life will also protect you. You know, that's a big part of this conversation. Life saying, like, man, I know you doing well. I know you treat people right. It's just that I want to protect you. Like, don't keep asking me for it, because I might open that door and you might harm yourself if I give it to you. You know, so that's a big part of that conversation. Life, as much as it challenges you, it also protects you from harming yourself.
Wow. So we're now about to get ready to wrap this thing up. You know, honestly, this has been a true honor just to finally be in person.
That's right.
To do this.
That's right.
So talk to us about that, and I want you to expound on, I know you talked about it, but I really want you to expound on it, and how life can actually protect us from certain things that we think we want. And life says you're really not ready for that.
You're not ready.
So talk to us about that and end this.
Man, listen, I want everybody to just really think about where they are. And because your circumstances, Troy, we said if you don't dive deep into these personal development conversations, if you're not intentional about your thinking and getting into a great space to control your thoughts, like, there's no way that you're going to be rich with a poor mindset.
Wow. Right.
Like, you can have the best job in the world. You can't be there with those levels of responsibilities with a poor mindset.
Right. Right.
People want to be captains. People want to be leaders. How are you going to be a leader? Not saying you don't understand the followers, but how are you going to be a leader with a follower mindset? Like, so I just want people to understand how important that is. It's not saying you can't get to the certain level, or you don't you're not owed that based on your work, but it might be a lot of internal stuff you need, stuff you can't see on the surface before it's given to you comfortably. Because when you're knocking on that door and you're not prepared, you're challenging life. You're making life make a very tough decision.
Right.
Life is trying to say, stay on the other side of that door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay there.
Yeah.
You wonder why you struggle, so stay there. But then finally, life kind of just says, all right, I'm gonna give you say you want this.
Wow.
You go.
Wow.
Life don't want you to fail.
Right.
Just because there are adverse situations in life, it doesn't mean life wants you to fail. Like, these challenges are to make you better.
Right.
Like, to make you more resilient. There's a reason why people go through processes. If you notice, people that are given things before they're mature enough to handle it, they usually don't do well at it. I don't care how long it takes for you to go through a process. Life is preparing you for those things before you get it. You usually take more care of it when you get it,
Right.
because you know the things you went through to get it.
Right.
So that's why life is tricky, right? Because we all think we're owed more. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
The 12th man on the bench, I'm sure he thinks he's better than Michael Jordan. He thinks he should be starting.
Right.
Like that's the way life is. When we're doing things, we just naturally think we're better than what we are. We naturally think we're owed more than what we are. But what we need to be asking is, do we deserve more than what we got in the moment? But we should need to understand that life, it not only challenges us, but it's there to protect us.
Right.
Life is in place. These things are in place to protect us. So to our audience, once again, man, Troy, I'm glad you guys are here in town. Listen, I hate the fact that you're about to take off. And then obviously by the time you come back, Cruti will be gone. But we got to make sure we get together and do this thing again, man. It's been really exciting. Heck, so we're so not used to it, Troy. It took us forever to even set the thing up. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're excited, man. We knew we were going to get it done, man. We love you guys. We love your audience. Thank you for tuning in once again, and make sure you lock in.
Listeners, you heard it here. More motivation. We're making some big moves, all right? We're making some big moves. This is a preview. Next thing you know, we might have our own studio, all right? So take care. Catch us on the Spotify, More Basketball website. Have a great week. To all of our listeners, we want to hear from you. Send your feedback. We love to hear from you. Take care, everyone. Have a great week.
All right, guys. Discipline, baby. More motivation.
Sacrifice. Sacrifice.
I just want to thank my son, Kenrick Moore, for dedicating his life to helping our youth. I know it's a tough task, but keep up the good work with Moore Basketball Clinic. I'm proud of the man you have become. I love you.